pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Your daddy and Martha were respected and friends with everybody.
Yes, that's kind of
So I mean, I would imagine Susan Lee's friends didn't like it, but that was their choice.
That's
man.
right. That's exactly.
There once was a Monrovian named Tom who rode his bike with a plum. One day he was spotted by Martha, was besotted, and together they rode off without qualm.
Well, they're still a lot like they were then, and they still say Monroe just the way they used to. That's when I learned where is this Monroe place?
Happy 45th to you, Tommy and Martha. We love you so much. We are in Monroe, North Carolina today, where Tom Helms and Martha House grew up. And we're going to take you on a tour of some very important places that you hung around, where you experienced life and got to know each other. This is Main Street, Monroe, North Carolina, as it is today. Is the Oasis Sandwich Shop, which was established in 1933. It was originally down the street closer to the courthouse.
The Oasis was a couple blocks away, but it moved to where it was while we were all in junior high.
Okay.
So it was there beside the movie theater when we were in high school.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, because occasionally we'd walk downtown and get a hot dog from there.
Did you?
Now we're on the back steps of Walter Bickett's school in Monroe, and over that way is the football field where Tommy played football and Martha cheered for him. I just learned something. I didn't know Martha was a
I
cheerleader.
know one other thing we ought to talk a little bit about, which your father was probably the best athlete to come out of Monroe for a 10-year span or whatever you want. I mean, he was. And he wasn't quick.
Yeah.
He was big, and that was part of it, but he
Yeah.
was talented. You know, and played all. Of course, all we played was football and basketball and baseball. That's it. We didn't have anything else. And I think my remembrance is that he was on all three of those sports teams as a freshman, which didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think he got 12 letters out of
12 out of 12.
But he was that good. I think he was the blocking back in football.
That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Feel it. That tonight's gonna
front of the new Monroe High School, which is where Tommy and Martha attended their senior year. Another legend has it that Martha and two boys put a toilet up on top of this roof right here, and I guess got in some sort of trouble for it, which really surprises me. I'm learning all kinds of stuff today. My question is, where do you get a toilet? Where do you find one? So I want to hear the answer to that.
Ain't that a shame? You're the one to blame. Bum, 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 bum. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Bum, 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 bum. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Bum, 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 bum. Give him two lips like roses and clover. Bum, bum, bum. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone. Bum, bum, bum.
This is 805 West Franklin Street in Monroe. Do you remember this house? This is where Tommy lived when he and Martha started dating. Can you imagine a young Tommy bouncing down these stairs to pick up Martha for a night on the town? It would have been a Chevrolet.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
Let me take you to one of our favorite places. We're now at 911 Bragg Street in Monroe. Love this house. And this porch has special meaning in the lives of Tommy and Martha. Legend has it that they had their first kiss right here, and that it was such a doozy of a kiss that Tommy fell down these stairs or tripped down these stairs, and Martha tripped right into the house and when they said goodnight. We're at the Center Theater in downtown Monroe.
So what happened here?
So what happened here? What's happening now? What happened here? We're wondering what movies you guys remember seeing together on dates when you came to dates here. Can you fix that?
Yeah, that's good.
See, Monroe had a large training army camp during the war, Camp Sutton, and they built a very nice USO building downtown.
Okay.
And it had a stage, it had basketball courts, it had a front room with pool tables, and every Friday and Saturday night, the middle class kids would go there, and we had a jukebox.
Oh, really?
And Harry Broom's mother was the person who came every time.
Oh, really?
Every
so
Friday and Saturday.
And
I don't know what time it opened, but they shut it down about 11 o'clock. Well, that's what you did, is you went there, or you went to the drive-in,
Okay.
or you went to the Orange Bowl, and that was the restaurant.
I just heard some rumors of the years before, I met both of them. And I think, all of the people in the Research Triangle area can have benefited from, some of the things that in the earlier years before I met them, because I understand that the DOT actually had to adjust all their traffic counts, all the traffic between Meredith College and Duke, and so much so that they decided to put an interstate highway that went by both of them very closely.
Did you ever see Mom over at Duke? Did that ever happen?
I am sure it did, because on football weekends, and maybe primarily on football weekends,
Okay.
that people sat out in front of their housing.
Okay, yes.
And visited with alumni and
Whoever
other
was
friends. So I'm sure I did, but I can't even call up a single
Because
instance.
we were trying to figure out where they would have gone on dates. Then I know they would have gone to Char Grill in Raleigh.
Well, the way that worked is the fraternities would put on, you didn't do it on campus because you couldn't drink.
Okay.
So the fraternities, their main function was social.
Was to create the
And
opportunities.
there were numerous of locations you could rent to have a party. And so the fraternity would that's what they do. They rent it, and sometimes they have a band, sometimes they have a jukebox or whatever.
Okay.
But every weekend there was a party
Okay. So
by each fraternity.
so you're.
Okay. I talked to my mom today and asked her what she remembered about that wedding weekend. And she remembered how cold it was, maybe record cold, and the snow and all that. She also said that the night before there was a party at the McGort House over on Washington Street, which had fireplaces in every room, and I remember that house. I love that house. And that Granddaddy McGort had built fires in all of the fireplaces, and she remembered that it was so cold that one of her memories from that night was the ladies pulling their skirts up and backing up to the fires so they could warm themselves. So I thought that was a great story to share. Now we're in front of First Baptist Church, where you guys, Tommy and Martha, got married on January 30th, 1966. I was here, I don't remember, but I've seen the pictures. I was 5 years old, and I remember hearing stories that it snowed. I don't remember how much it snowed, and if it messed up the plans at all, but that's something that we sure would like to hear from you guys.
Since we're here celebrating the 45th anniversary, it was suggested that I might recall something about the wedding. Actually, I don't remember very much, except that it was extremely cold. I believe it was 4 degrees in Monroe that weekend, and we had several inches of snow. Nobody was getting out. So Tommy had a 61 red Chevrolet that had snow tires on the back wheels, and it was a rear-wheel drive, straight drive car. So my duty there for about 3 days was to drive a bunch of elderly ladies, pick them up and drive them to the church.
You're a falling star, you're the getaway car, you're the line in the sand when I go too far, you're the swimming pool on an August day.
But it was actually fun. I was 17 years old. I thought it was great. I was getting out in the snow, picking these people up, driving them to the church, getting them there, and it was fun. Also, I remember, I think this is probably the first time possibly I ever wore a tuxedo. I think I wore a tuxedo in that. That was fun too. I also remember the rehearsal dinner the night before being in probably just a side room there at the Baptist Church in Monroe.
Now we're inside the First Baptist Church, and right in this area here is where Tommy and Martha, he was 23, a mere 23, and she was a mere 22, said their vows. I know I was here, like I said, I've seen the pictures, and I imagine I was sitting somewhere over here on the bride's side. Grandmother and Granddaddy House would have been here. I know that my mother was here. I've talked to her about that. The Helms family would have been seated over there on that really cold day in January 1966.
And I can't believe that I'm your man, and I get to kiss you, baby, just because I can. Whatever comes our way, I will see it through, and you know that's what all love can do. I am in this crazy life, and through these crazy times, it's you, you make me sing. You're every line, you're every word, you're everything. So la 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 la. So la.
Yeah, it was in about April or May or June of 1967. So
Okay.
I haven't known him for 45 years. Just 44. July or August of that same year, both Tom and Martha and Joan and I were assigned to Chattanooga to do the study down there. So, and we ended up, for at least in the beginning, living in the same apartment building, Red Bank, Tennessee, which is across the river from Chattanooga.
Okay.
And Tom and Martha had some noisy young ladies who lived next door, and they couldn't stand that very long. It seems like they were living underneath or beside, I don't remember now exactly, but the walls were apparently thin, so it wasn't too long till they moved to another apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were just a young couple like us trying to figure out what was going on in the world and what they needed to do next. You know, one of the highlights of being in Chattanooga, we got to go see Brother Dave Gardner one night. He says, "If you ain't John, I'm gone."
I think we formed the Friends class under David and Gail Parsons' tutelage.
Well,
There's always
we were
been
at White Plains and they came back from Atlanta.
That's
We
right.
did not know them. We were not in Cary when they
Okay.
were before parents. Becky Coleman?
Yes,
That sounds
yes,
right.
it was. That's right,
Who-
that's right.
They were in our church at the time and they said, oh, and the Helms are coming back. And I did not know who that was. So that, I guess that was the first time I ever heard of your parents. We
I
were in
think
that
the thing
middle
I
of-
remember most that I can place accurately in time was your dad and David Parsons got into a discussion before Sunday school started up, really sort of right after the opening remarks and prayer, about the merits of height and hair. I think David started it, yeah.
Your love lifted me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love gonna lift me higher, higher and higher. I said your love lifted me higher and higher. Now once I was downhearted, disappointment was my closest friend. But then you came and he soon departed, and you know he never showed his face again. That's why your love oh, lifted me higher, higher and higher. I said your love keep on lifting me higher and higher. All right. Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took. But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. Don't know much about geography. Don't know much trigonometry. Don't know much about algebra. Don't know what a sliding rule is for. But I do know 1 and 1 is 2.
had gone with another girl
For a long time. Yeah.
Susan Lee was her name, I think. And somehow or another they got mad. I don't know what. And I'll always be convinced that Martha House stepped right in there for it. She made sure, however you do that kind of thing, but she was ready. She had picked him out.
Is that right?
That's my opinion. I don't know. So, and the next thing I know, they're dating, and then they get serious or whatever you want to call it.
That was.
Oh, cha 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 cha.